sir, thank you so much for being on the show.
Well, thanks for having me.
Of course. Oh, that goes there.
Right.
There you go. All right, so audience, this is Carl as I struggle here, and I'm going to interrogate him.
There it is.
I have certain skills and I lack other skills. All right, so cheers.
Cheers.
All right, so how did your life start? Just kidding.
Well, in the womb for 9 months.
You did your first monologue.
Yeah, right there.
Right there. Okay, but so were you ever like? Oh wait, didn't you do skits and everything way back in the day?
Definitely.
Okay, is that how you started?
No, my game started like way before that. Like so, in third grade, like I had this English teacher. Like that was the only subject I liked in school. I still remember it. Miss Youngblood. So I used to make up these crazy stories. You know, I was the class clown too, so I just had to throw that in there. But she always told my mom, like, you know, put him in like writing classes, blah blah blah. And you know, I just like doing that stuff in class. I never did it outside.
Yeah.
So I always had that little niche. But then like watching the shows that I grew up with, like you know,
what shows?
Martin. Pretty much Martin.
One show.
Yeah, well, that was like my comedy show. That's what the show I cracked up. Oh, and like the Wayans brothers. So like, I would always picture that, and you know, the group of friends I had, we would always like, you know, go over those jokes that happened last night, and we would just say that for like the whole month or you know, whatever. So I've always had that niche at it, but I never pursued it beyond that level.
And that was in like high school or is it elementary
that was
school-ish?
like going into high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at what point did you think like, hey, I could be a creative person who produces makes creative things?
Probably like just around that time, like just sitting down writing something out or just thinking about it, and then like it would just get stuck up there. So I like growing up, I had like a million ideas for things, but I never had that next, setup. So, and that was until I met, you know, my friends, my certain group of friends, John, Nate.
This Nate, no?
This particular Nate
okay.
right here.
Everyone has a Nate. But...
And then we just started, you know, like doing everything. I mean, we would do like dance. We used to go like out all the time, and that would be like the purpose of going out dancing.
Yeah.
And then while we're coming back from where we're at, we're going over like ideas of stuff, and it kind of stayed at that level, kind of thing.
Yeah, you know what's funny is like you can be kind of a creative person, but it's not until you are surrounded by people who encourage your ideas and like bounce back off them until you realize you can do something with it.
Correct.
Yeah. So did one of you, Nate, just point a camera at you guys and just start filming stuff?
That pretty much is it. Like it pretty much all started from like jokes. So we would like, you know, play pranks on people, like a certain friend in particular. Mark Brown, you'll probably, you know, had to just plug him out there.
Are we
but
he
definitely probably, you know, if I don't show up one day somewhere, it's because he, you know, came back and got me after one of those things.
You must have done a lot.
So, you know, like just from, I did. Hey, don't worry, Mark, you'll get some money.
Hey, comedy's comedy. Respect the art.
Correct. and definitely like just knowing that when those ideas bounce back, like for me, I appreciate like when people laugh. So I just always grew up a class clown, and just like whenever I knew I could make you laugh, I'm like, oh, cool. So I can do this all day. But then it's like, all right, there's somewhere in the line that has to be like, all right, you're supposed to do something with this now.
Yeah.
So that has been my ceiling. Like, oh, you should do something with this. And then I'm like, hell yeah. And then I'm like,
what?
Can I go up there and do this?
Yeah.
I'll just take one of these.
Yeah. And on that note, I'm kidding. So if that was kind of your high school thing, making skits and just kind of having fun with friends, I know I don't know. I'm going to ask you, but you didn't go to college. You went to the Navy or the Army or the
Navy.
Navy. Okay.
I went to Navy. So yeah, like after dancing around and making people laugh, I was like, all right, I got to do something with myself. And I went to the Navy and met a lot of people there. Yeah. And that's like a thing now. I've learned like so many people done some sort of famous people done military time. Like I learned like MC Hammer was in the Navy. I'm like, wow, what the heck, random. You know? Maybe that's where he learned how to, you know, do his little thing or whatever. And just like a host of people, like Charlie Murphy. He was in the Navy. And I'm like,
Yeah.
man, that's like my guy. Because, Eddie Murphy, that's my, like, number 2 of all-time comedian.
Yeah. Number 2?
Number 2. Richard Pryor, number 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, that's a strong number 2, though. Like, that number 2 is, like, he could be number 1.
He's neck and neck.
Right there. So, but yeah, I did that stint. And after those people, new people, now they notice that I make them laugh. And they're like, bro, you need to do something with this stuff.
Yeah.
But I was doing more writing because out on deployments, I didn't have enough time. You couldn't like film anything or nothing. So like I would just dabble on a project idea, and I actually wrote a full script while I was in. And then I was like, all right, I'm getting out and I'm coming out here to Cali, and I'm gonna pursue something about it. So that's what brought me here.
So so from there, did you just start kind of looking around at schools, or how did you're like, okay, I want to be an actor, and then you're like, oh fuck, what do I do?
Yeah, see, I was more so like, I was like, all right, acting could be one thing, right? I could definitely always see myself as being like Will Smith, he's from the hometown. But I more so knew that I could like write out stuff better and like I could express myself through writing. So that's what I came out here with the notation. I was like, all right, I'm gonna be like mainly a director. I want to like direct some stuff. I want to make projects.
Yeah.
But then it's like you're just like drawn into like, all right, I can like step in front of the camera and say words. But sometimes I don't have the words connection or whatever. So I'm like, all right, my strong suit is just predominantly writing. Yeah.
Okay, so did you went to school for writing?
I went to school for directing.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I went to NYFA as
New York Film Academy.
New York Film Academy.
NYFA
here
sounds a lot like
I know, right?
nice.
It's just thrown out there. Like, as soon as you say New York Film Academy one time and you find out it's NYFA. Oh, yeah, NYFA. I don't have time to. Because as soon as you say New York Film Academy, I'm like, hold on, wait, you're in California. How do you go to New York?
Yeah, but
I'm like,
commute?
Oh, man.
Stupid.
So, yeah, no, I went there. And I did a year there. And then I just recently took time off. So now I'm like trying to work other areas of my, little skill set.
So what did you do in your year there?
I was a directing film student.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So what goes on in the curriculum of that?
Definitely like learning positions, learning lighting, like kind of like the basics. In that first year, like it was definitely like a lot of basic, here's the camera, here's the button, record.
Yeah.
2 people sit in front of it.
Make a 2-minute film.
Right. Yeah. Just and a lot of other little things, but predominantly just the basics.
Yeah. Okay. And what made you want to stop going to school?
Well, the question is always asked is if going to school for film like worth it? Right. Yeah. Because obviously you have on the one hand, you have people that can afford to go to school, and then on the other hand, you have people that like they have that dream, but they just like I'm not going to school for it. So I've seen both sides of the field. I've seen people do very well with no schooling and just like personal, training themselves personally, and then also the schooling thing but the schooling thing for me was more about networking. Like I've networked with so many people in this whole little town that I'm not from. So
yeah. And these are all people who are going to be working on their own careers, and you're all going to kind of like keep each other in mind as
you're
you
like, hey, you
as
remember
step
me,
up.
right?
Yeah. Well, we went to school that one year.
Right, that 1 year. That 1 year I was around, right?
Okay, so I guess now that you're out, what are you like focusing on now? Do you still kind of directing? You said you wrote a screenplay?
Yeah.
Is that the same one?
That is the same one.
Okay.
That's the same one. Over time, I've been like, because I started it with no experience. I actually had a book. A friend of mine brought me a book, and I read the book, and I'm like, skip through the first pages. Oh, that's just that. Oh, skip through the whole book without reading it. All right, I'm gonna just write. So So over this time, I've been like, updating my script. So
how long do you think it took you to get from to finish that script? Because I know it takes a long time to write a feature script.
You got to be like, have the drive really and the focus. Yeah. Like my all-time favorite is Rocky. Sylvester Stallone wrote that in 2 days, like literally 2 days.
Oh my
God.
God.
It's crazy, right? And then I look at like, oh, I know the story, and I'm writing. I'm like, shut it down and go do something else. And now it's 6 months later, and I'm like, oh damn, I just only had 1 sentence. So yeah, it's that you have to have the determination to like, go just.
So how do you know when it's done?
So you can be like, all right, I feel it's done, and I would like somebody to look at it. Then you can be like, I'll send it to a friend or something. But since I was in the school, I had gave it to the screenwriting teacher.
Oh, cool.
And she gave me a whole bunch of red marks. And I was like, okay, cool. That's what I needed that to know, like.
It's more helpful than nothing.
Right, because all I'm going off is, I have a beginning to end. So she gave me my marks, and I took them and was like, all right, cool. This is, what I gotta do. And I still haven't finished.
Yeah, that's okay. But that's something I didn't even realize. I guess when you're at a school, you have the resources of these people who I don't know if they're in the industry or not, depends on the school.
Right.
But they'll like look over your stuff and give you like real feedback.
Right, and
so that's really helpful.
Man, that was like a lot. Like my whole idea was to go to school to learn more about it, but just in that one sitting with her, I was like, I don't need to go here. Like, I already possess the skill. So,
yeah.
That's.
You just got to believe in yourself.
Correct.
And you're like, hey,
right?
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
Juggernaut.
That's it. Oh my gosh. All right. Okay. So, but when a screenplay is finished, because I'm not a writer, I have no idea. What do you go to? You're like, hey, read this.
Yeah, you can shop it out. Like literally, people like
Yeah.
you can just find the address to a like an agency, and you can send it there, or like a lot of people like kind of do is like just carry one around in your car and just drive around looking for people and like, oh shit, that's
Starbucks.
Denzel Washington here, like, but oh yeah.
But
I mean,
it work?
somebody, I think like one of the teachers told me that in that school, like one of his students like ran into somebody at a Starbucks, and he was like, "Hey, sir, how you doing?" Blah blah blah. I just so happened to have a script, and the guy was like, "Sure." Took a look at it, and they bought it off of him.
Really?
Really, just
and
like
then,
that.
And then you're a real writer.
Then there you are.
Someone just needs to buy it from you.
You just need
you have to really hope that person's in a good mood that day.
Oh, yeah.
Because otherwise you could be, wouldn't you be blacklisted or something? Like, wouldn't you be like, okay, this person, it's a risky strategy.
It is. But the other way is like you can find, like I said, you can find those agencies and just send like 30 copies of your script to those places and hope they call you back.
You know what the other thing though that made me think of is as someone who like produces my own short films, there was a point where I'm like, I don't want to write anymore. I do enjoy writing, but it's like I know I want to fund a project where I'm the lead. So I actually went online to a place. I'm like, hey, I know you're all writers. I need like a 5-10 minute screenplay with a female lead in this age. Send them at me, and I got like at least 20. So like people are looking for scripts to randomly fall in their lap. So I don't know, depends on the script and the person. Probably once I'm somebody, I don't want like thousands coming at me.
Right.
But there could be something to it, and I found one that I liked, and I was like, and now we're gonna make it. It's gonna be a film noir. Yeah.
That's nice.
It's gonna be good.
I know, like I want to do more of like stuff that pertains to comedy. I think that's going to be like my naturally, thing that gets everything clicking.
Yeah.
And then after that, writer, director.
Would you stand up?
That is my cliff that I'm standing in front of right now. So
okay.
I'm pretty much being pressured into doing it now. Yeah. So I'm going to take the leap one of these days, do a little amateur night thing, see how it goes, Do
it. Let us know. That'll be fun. I love going to see my people perform.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so, but have you ever, like, dabbled in improv either? Or
I've done like little, I know I did little things, like little improv things, but that was like socially with people that I know, not like not with a group of people I don't know.
Oh yeah, that was probably more like back in the skit days where you're like, okay, this is what we're gonna be joking about, and like this is what we're gonna do. Go.
Yeah, that was all of that. Like, and we would just do that. Just walk into the store. It would be improv. Like we're just with a purpose. Like, all right, let's just say somebody just fell off right here, and then we would just run off of that, or like, snap, there's a bum coming, and we're just like go
use it.
Just use your surroundings.
So you have like no desire to kind of, well, I guess I was gonna say be on stage, but is that not like a huge goal for you?
That is. That would be my definitely like, people have to overcome fears, like fear of flying, blah blah blah. So I feel like that fear is just my only, like little setback as far as seeing my true potential. Oh, so really? I feel like as soon as I do that, man, nobody can tell me nothing. So, I don't know.
I think it takes a lot of bravery to do stand up. I'm kind of scared.
Right.
Because it's kind of like, hey, I think this thing is funny. Listen. And then it takes a lot of like courage to be up there and say that.
Right. And you got to be able to take like,
a lot of criticism.
Booze, right. Booze. And I mean, I've heard like, like Dave Chappelle, he got booed recently. Like
really?
Richard Pryor went on stage And he just like forgot like a joke or something. He tried to run with it, and they all booed him. I'm like, Richard Pryor, and he was like, you know what, F you. They paid me anyway, so I don't have to do nothing.
Yeah.
I'm good. So he left and came back the next day and then rocked it out. So I'm just like, I get booed. I'm gonna remember that one face, like parking lot.
I'm gonna find you.
Yes,
I'm
I'm going to find
street
you
after the show, and I won't be with all my loving fans. I'm
Right.
gonna be following you.
I will come after all my booers, like No, but that's just just that step. So I feel like
I just thought of a question. Okay, so may I talk? Okay.
Oh.
No, just kidding.
Got a question.
So you said you really want to direct, and that you wrote the screenplay, and you're thinking about selling the screenplay. Why would you not want to just direct and produce and make your own screenplay and maybe put it into festivals or just put it onto a streaming service?
So like that first script that I wrote it with the intentions of like I've seen like the numbers, how like certain scripts go and like how much they pay for the script. So I was like, okay, I know like if I did like a little love story, it's probably 1 million of those, and it's not like it's not a big budgeted movie. So all the big budgeted movies, they pay like the top dollar for a script, and the highest sold script was like $5 million. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna throw in a whole bunch of action, a whole bunch of all of this stuff, and make it that. So then I got kind of drawn into it by that, and then coming to know about it, I'm like, damn, okay, maybe I should have started out with a little school playground little story.
A street in an old town where they don't have permit filming rules.
Right, yeah. It's one stop sign here, So, so I just went at it like just Babe Ruth, just aiming for the fence. So, knowing now, like I just got to take a step back and just try to hit an RBI. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't need to score yet.
Yeah. I guess it depends what you want to focus on, and that's one of the things. There's so many different ways you could be told. It's like, do I want to direct or spend my time writing things that I could sell, and then maybe I should do the comedy, but then I'm wasting my talents elsewhere.
Right. So it's just you got to like just keep going at all of them. That's pretty much what it is. But I don't want to like focus too hard on one thing and then leave the other things behind. That's what I did with comedy. I really should have like went straight with that. So. But it's all good though. I feel like I'm in a good place, surrounded by good people, and we got a lot of moving parts. So
Yeah. So as a director, is there any way to talk to actors? I don't know, like if they're being difficult or not understanding something in a scene, is that something you ever think about? Like how do you communicate to an actor to get your idea across to make sure they don't completely butcher your thing? Because a film is a director's medium, so they have to do your work. Right.
And definitely doing that in school, like all the projects I did, I just felt more like easier telling the people how to do it. Like now I'm telling them how to do their job.
Yeah.
I found myself in that position, and it's like you just got to find that right like playbook. Like all right, this is how we're gonna run it. But you got to have a nice group. You got to have the right actors, and everybody has to have the same energy. Like it has to be all good. So I just think talking to actors that's where I find myself like, all right, man, you get behind the camera, I'll do this, and I'll be the lead guy. That's how I felt sometimes doing that. Like, step aside, man, come on. I don't want
That's so mean. Or not mean, but it's like, I could do this better than you.
Yeah,
my thought was mean, not what you said was mean. Have you ever taken an acting class to try to like understand kind of like what they're thinking?
Nope, not at all yet.
Yeah.
So, but I definitely know the benefits of taking classes. Like, definitely know, going at it with some sort of, okay, these people kind of know what they're talking about, kind of,
Yeah.
Because they could be like, there's acting, like here in LA, definitely, I'm like, I see acting courses held at places like
they're everywhere.
Like the East Coast have churches, like a church on every freaking corner on the East Coast. So
come to our Sunday conference hall acting class.
Yeah,
they have it.
That is definitely out here. So
with a teacher who you haven't heard of, but they've been
on
something,
but they've been
so you
somewhere.
should come and hear.
See, I just hate being scammed. I'm like, the East Coast is just, you grow up so fast over there, and like it's so many people scamming. Like anybody could be like, yeah, I got the classes here, but then you go search the guy, he just was like a child molester or something. Like it's just like something really crazy. My mind goes all the way.
Yeah.
So
no, this thing actually, a lot of people do come to LA and they're naive. Like I mean, not probably all the East Coasters know. Like I feel like not them. They actually seem pretty like good at telling things. But like other people I meet just from other random places, they like take any random class,
Right.
anything that's a showcase,
Right.
anything where you can pay $100 to meet someone. And it's like, I don't know, I don't believe
Right,
it.
yeah. No, I'm like,
No
where do they
insult to
get
anyone
these
who's,
headshots from?
doing that.
Yeah.
Don't do it, sorry.
No.
Interrupted. I don't know, it just, it's really easy to let people confuse you. You know,
Yeah.
or like, oh, you have to do this, you have to do 10 laps before you can go the full mile, which makes no sense. And exactly that's the advice that makes no sense. You know, they tell you to do all these things,
Right.
and it's like they keep saying you're not ready until they decide you're ready.
Right, like
but
who are them?
they're not the people who decide.
Right.
I don't know who does. I guess casting directors in my case.
Definitely just research. I think that was the main thing, like getting out here and having to like do casting calls. But I felt more so just like I knew a lot of people just by talking. So I felt like if I go on this website, I'm like, yeah, this is just a picture on here. It's like, swipe left. So I'm like, I'd rather do more hand selection on like the people that I met and worked with. So, but yeah, my advice is just like them. I've seen people go through like a lot of crazy stuff, and people that went through that after that, then they found the right way, and I found like, okay, so you learn from your mistakes. So that person is a good person to like, reach out to or whatever. So like I said, scam artists are like everywhere, but here they're just,
Anybody try to scam you or any stories of that?
It was not really a scam, but it was like I went to look for an actor for like one of the projects, and I was like going to cast him, but then he was like, look, I would like $200, put down first, so and $400 total for your project. I'm like, bro, like I'm in school, like I got oodles and noodles in my freaking cabinet. There's no gourmet meals in there, so this is all no budget. Like you get a handshake, I'll probably buy you a beer, but other than that, no, $200, no, dog. Like so, no, I haven't been scammed. I think I've more like just learned to look in the right places.
You know what's funny? I just want to say there is something funny about the transition from being a not paid actor to being a paid actor. And it's funny just going to when you're not paid, you obviously do student films.
Right.
But then you can't just keep doing the student films when you think you need to get paid and just still demand what you think. I don't know.
No,
like
everybody
it's awkward trying to jump to the next level, but
Right.
only be at the level where you're not. I don't know. Does that make sense? No. You know?
It's kind of like doing
At what point do you start demanding money for your, probably not when it's a student film. I don't know, unless it's, I don't have the answer if anyone knows the answer.
It's about what projects you select.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there are some projects, like I know actress who have worked on a project with me, and she's been paid like thousands of dollars already, like doing commercials and films and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's let me in y'all for a role, and the role is like, oh, it's exciting, I've never done something like that before.
I'm excited about this. Yeah.
So she didn't need to get paid for that. You know what I mean? I think it would depend on the project and the people.
Excuse me. Yeah, and I guess your relationship with the people in the project, which again is networking.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I think even like even high paid actors will still have to keep working, or else they're not going to be working.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Always be like trying to do something at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I did have a question before we moved too far away from it, because we were talking about kind of like scams and like tricking people into doing that. Is there any way this could be? I mean, I don't sound random, but do you think like school is because you left? Do you think there's a way they're trying to take your money, or do you believe in the school system?
Like everything has a purpose, and definitely these schools have the purpose of like, okay, you want to learn this, so that is their focus. But also, it's like this place. It's like it's a school on every corner, pretty much, right? And you got to be like, all right, is this school? Obviously, if it's not like the top tier school of such, but me doing my research, I've learned that like one of the best schools to go to for film was a community college in Orlando. Like
Really?
I'm like, wow, why a community college? Because like Steven Spielberg like donated like $100 million to revamp their they have a film section in the community college. So I'm like,
Do you know
all
the
right.
school?
I forget the name, so yeah, can't hold me to that. But
Yeah,
it is
we'll
it's a
Google
community community college in Orlando.
That's awesome.
But yeah, like people can open up a school and say, here, we're teaching this.
Yeah.
And then just have people in there teaching you this and you're paying your money. And at the end of it, it's like, what do I get at the end? And sometimes you may not get nothing. You know what I mean? Or a piece of paper, like a certificate or something. So I feel there is a way, and I feel like it is. It's a 50-50. Like, you really don't need to go to school for these things. But a lot of people have dreams. So if your dream is to, like, do this, you don't know crap. You just want to go straight into, like, put me here. And definitely the first shining lights will be like, we have acting here. And then you're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I still feel like school is kind of, especially for people that don't have, like, a lick of that creativity in their body. But you want to go that way. So I feel like, school will be worth it for that.
Yeah.
It'll even, like,
Or try to
if you
nurture
have
that.
interest, it'll kick on your ass, too.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Right.
ready for this.
Yeah, you'd be like, oh.
No, I know
It's
actually,
different.
I know some acting schools where I just heard they are just like rigorous and you have probably like no social life. You know,
Right.
you're just like learning scenes and then performing scenes and then just like over and over.
Right.
When you was like, all right, I'm gonna make this trip out to LA, what was that process in your mind like? And then you said, all right, I'm planning to do it. Like, how'd you get out here?
Well, it definitely started. I was in the Navy, and you know, like I said, I had some friends out here. This particular Nate that we're talking about. that guy. This particular Nate. And no, like, you know, like doing the stuff I had to do, like I've already done deployments and stuff, and I was like, all right, I'm like basically away from my family, and I've learned to live like that while I was in. So I'm like, all right, cool. What am I going to do when I get out? And you know, I'm seeing like Nate making moves out here. Like, you know, if you see friends like doing things in a direction of what you knew they should be doing them in, you'll be like more geared to be like, oh,
Inspires you.
Right. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna make it out there. And I didn't have a clue on what I was gonna do, like how I was gonna do it or whatever. So this is where the start of the driving epidemic started. So we're going down from Key West, Florida, to drive all the way up to Philly and, you know, see family, hug them, say these things, and like, oh yeah, I'm moving to California. What are you going to California for? And I'm like, okay, I gotta say this because before
I'm gonna be famous.
I had a cousin that moved out here. I had a couple cousins that moved out here, but one particular cousin, he was more like a family friend. But I've heard that he moved out here for comedy, right? And he like, you know, did the same thing, like hugged everybody goodbye. Last time he seen him, and then we heard he came out here and bombed. And then never seen him again. I'm like, damn. All right, I gotta be like, you know, we gotta even this statistic out. I don't want it to be the only zero, right?
Yeah.
So
for your family.
right? Gotta do
For
it
honor,
for the family,
you go to
right?
California.
Right. So you know, I'm gunning. I'm ready, and this is me leaving Florida to go to Philly. I'm gunning up there to like do all that crap, and then I'm like, all right, now I'm about to trek across the country. Like, never done it before, and I've driven like the whole drive by myself too. So. I'm headed out, right? And like, as I like, it was a little sad story about it. So like, I've already left my parents and stuff like that. I've been in the military, I've done deployments and all this stuff. But for some reason, like when I told them like I'm leaving to come out here, like, you know, they like, I was leaving at like 7 a.m. And like, I could have easily walked to my car myself and then drove off. But they were like, let us walk you to the car. The car was like right outside. I'm like, why are they walking me to the car? So I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, how old am I? And I'm starting to like, you know, I'm giving them hugs and stuff. And I'm like, I bet not be no god darn tear coming out my eye right now, bro.
No.
I was like, so I'm in the car like, I'm gonna do it, man. I'm gonna do it. I was like,
Okay, Mom.
yeah, I'm like, why they do that? Like, it must have been a trick. Like, they didn't push the button or something. So after the little, you know, wipe the tears session, I'm like, all right, I plugged in the GPS California. I was like, oh, yeah, like, you know, forgot all about all of that. So
LA GPS, let's go.
man, and I mean, that was like an epic like trip. I want to do that again.
Them damn miles popped up on that GPS.
I was like,
They said, how many hours?
it don't run down. I'm like, did it add miles? Like, yeah, no, that was
miles, 40
Yeah.
hours. What?
that was a crazy drive.
So when you came here, do you just go straight to a particular Nate's house, or do you just like go?
Well, this particular Nate, what did we do?
Not the in particular Nate, the particular.
Nate, he was actually like, he was back on the East Coast, and I came. So during this time, yeah, he wasn't there.
Oh, okay.
So I just, you know, I was going to the school thing. So, so yeah, that particular Nate was not that in that particular place, in that particular time.
Did I answer your question?
Anything happen along the road? Any interesting stories happen?
Do you pick up any hitchhikers?
Man.
Oh my God.
In Texas?
It sounds
Man,
like. Where'd you go in Texas with?
No, I went like the more middle.
Okay.
So
Okay.
like pretty much like
Wisconsin?
no,
Yeah.
that's like more
Oh,
up north.
okay.
I went basically like through like Kansas. So if you
Oh,
just
okay.
Kansas, Philadelphia, LA. So I went through because I was actually going straight to Vegas before I came here to LA. You know, you got to do that, right? I'm
gotta
like, I'm
do
not gonna
Vegas.
ride through here without
Yeah.
blowing everything. Like,
You got to show up in LA
Right.
poor, so if
I
you have
gotta
money,
do it right.
you got to lose it somewhere along the way.
the story has to be good. Like,
Yeah.
I made a detour to Vegas, lost all my gas money, and
But there's
pretty
a
much-
chance I could have won. so-
Right. So, no, but when I went through Colorado, that was like a eye opener because, you know, I'm going through pretty much the flat plains of America, and then it's dark, and now I'm like, why don't I see stars or anything? And I'm like, oh shit, that's a rock, and it was like I'm surrounded by boulders, and then the the temperature gauge. They told you the temperatures that's outside. I know I'm getting like over because
No,
I'm
it's
like
okay, do it.
remembering it.
Yeah. Create the visuals.
Oh no. No, I shall. But no, so I'm driving, right, and the temperature was like whatever, like 48 degrees. And I'm like, okay, cool, it's kind of cold. And then out of nowhere, I'm starting hearing these little crackle sounds. And I look at the temperature again, it was like -6. I'm like, oh shit. So
God, really?
yeah, so I'm now in like Eagle Rock, Colorado or something, like in the middle of nowhere. And like all
We have to put a map of Eagle Rock, California, please. Eagle Rock, LA.
it's literally like it's Eagle something. It's Eagle
Eagleville.
something. Yeah, Eagleville. Cold Eagleville. So I'm like, you know, the normal road signs are so like, you know, deer crossing or like swerving lane. No, this freaking thing had like a truck aimed at a diagonal, like watch out for that. And it was
Yeah.
like one of the signs had like a moose head on it. I'm like, all right, bro. I'm like in the middle of nowhere.
So
right
you're like, and then it's like a drop, and you're going on down like a log ride, and then there's like mooses running back and
It's
forth.
like pretty much
My
Mother
God.
Nature. It's like Jumanji. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, bro. I'm expecting like all types of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that was my most craziest part of that trip.
And this
coming here.
inspired your passion for filmmaking.
I mean, you gotta like, you know, you
Because
gotta
have a
go
new
through
respect
it, right?
for wildlife, and that's your next film.
I had to go through this hole to get out to LA. It's like
And
LA is like Narnia. Like you go through the magic door, and it's like, oh, this
Tumnus.
is why.
No,
Okay.
Was that everything you dreamed it would be?
The drive or LA? Well, until I seen them bums, man. No.
Oh my God. No, there's bumps
See,
everywhere.
you have to,
There's
like, every story has a bottom and every story has a top. So, yeah, you
Yeah.
come out here, you see Ferraris riding past you, and then look back the other way and it's bums pushing a cart. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right. So I just got to stay in the middle somewhere. Like, just
As long as I'm
stay
directly in the middle,
Yeah,
it's
I'm good.
okay.
If I start to go towards the bum life,
Yeah.
please help me out. Steer me right. Right?
Just carry a sign. I'm about to become a bum. Don't
Right.
let me. I'll just money.
I'm headed downhill. Like,
Yeah.
no. But yeah, no, LA definitely.
Yeah,
It was an
that's
eye
amazing.
opener. Getting out here and like seeing like a whole like it's not much of a culture shock like how people say. It's the same as the East Coast, just more sun.
Yeah. Though I do think LA, like technically, and just in my opinion, is kind of an ugly city. But I love it, and I'm probably gonna stay here forever because there are parts of it with charm. But mostly, it's like I feel like so many people here are just here for a passion and for a vision and for like a journey, and they project all this like goodness, you know,
Right.
and it's like, oh, we're all here, and you meet creative, inspiring people, and it's like everyone I talk to they all have their crazy stories how they got here, you know. So it's like it's not the prettiest city in the world, but it's filled with all these people with hopes and dreams and goals. I like it.
Yeah, it's definitely like the family that grew up in the trailer. You can't say shit about anybody in their family because they'll whoop you.
Yeah.
And then they'll go home and eat family dinner like nothing happened. While you may live in a bigger house or whatever, but they appreciate that trailer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's like Kylie. Like Kylie, I appreciate it because it's a lot of people have a lot of talk, right? A lot of people talk about, oh man, I'm gonna go do this, or I'm gonna be that, but it's just talk. But then when you start seeing like productions around you, you know, you got like stuff in front of you, like, oh shoot, this is the real deal. Okay, like I gotta now step my game up. So that's how out here like pumps me. Like I feel that every day. It's like shoot, like I'm like the first time I came out here, I was walking past and there was a guy like sitting at a bus stop, and he's like going back and forth like reading his paper, and I'm like, oh shoot, he's practicing the line. I'm like, that was when it first hit me. I was like, dang, this is what they do out here. Okay, I was like, because before I would be like, oh, must be crazy or something.
So
You know?
in that aspect, it's what you kind of figured it would be.
It was more like, you know, you obviously people, you know, people are shooting films and stuff out here, but when you see the meat and potatoes about it, like there's people practicing scripts on a bus stop, like you know, that's way different.
One day I was at the gym and I was on the treadmill and I look at this girl in front of me on the treadmill and she's reading her script with her sides and she's just running and like, you know, like doing the words. And I was like, God, I should be working harder.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but I'm there and I'm like, I don't know.
Right. It's cool now that like everybody's getting a fair shot. Like it's all about everybody getting a fair shot. Nobody having like, you know, they were drawing a shorter stick or whatever. But like it's cool seeing things like that. And I mean, just personally, like, you know, growing up, you know, I'm an 80s baby. So like I grew up with Batman underwear, freaking Superman underwear. And like I remember this picture, like when I went home recently, I seen a picture of like all of us at Halloween. We all had these like costumes on, right? But back
You're
then,
all in your Batman underwear.
right? No, this story is not going that way.
I thought it was.
No,
Tell your story.
we like, you know, everybody. But back in the day, they just had those plastic masks with the string and just some plastic piece. And you know, if you weren't like the wealthiest of family, that's like an old mask too. So it got like a little tear in it, so it's like digging into you. So you got to deal with that, right?
But it's worth it.
Right, and but just like all of our faces, we all were like white people. Like I'm like, why were we white face back then? So like, you know, now we get to see like, you know, Black Panther. We get to see like an actual. So I'm like, kids that are growing up now, like this is what I had.
Yeah, they have heroes to look
right.
up to.
They got somebody they want to be, and they don't have to like, you know, I don't know. I mean, heck, it's cool that if a girl wanted to be Spider-Man or Batman or Superman, she can do that now without, you know, your dad. Girls do not wear that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, everybody's kind of free to do their own right now.
Is that the kind of project you want to create? Something that'll, like, inspire people?
Definitely. Like, I feel like if a movie does not move you beyond, like, anything, like, you know, it may be good, but it definitely doesn't have that punch. Like, Fast and Furious, right? I loved cars growing up. When I seen that movie, I'd never driven a stick. I like saved up money, went to go buy a stick shift car. It cut off on me like 20 times as I drove out, but I was determined. I'm like, I'm gonna be doing all what they were doing in the movie. So, you know, that movie, like,
they have so much impact on people.
Yeah.
Like half of my people growing up, my role models were like characters in movies and actors. Right. You know?
People that you can relate to or like.
But then it puts a lot of pressure on you as someone who's trying to create something. You're like, everyone will see this and this could influence everyone and things I had no idea, you know?
But I feel like if you like getting that satisfaction from moving people, you'll be like, you know, that was what it was worth. Yeah. So yeah, that's what it's about.
How are you gonna fit into that, moving people in this?
I got a weird mindset. My imagination, I feel like my imagination is on like level 3 billion, right? Out of 3 billion. And there's nobody else.
I like how it's not out of 100. You're like, you could have said 100 out of 100. It'd be the same statistic.
It just had to be a weird big number.
As an example.
Right. You know, so I just feel like I can make a, you know, a story out of anything. And I feel like I can, you know, go deep into that story. So if I get to tell you the story of how these two pencils met in a classroom and you're like, damn.
My heart's already broken because one's going to get sharpened.
Right.
That's how the story goes.
One is going to be abused by like the fat kid in the corner who's just always erasing it. So he has no eraser left, so he got to bite the end. And then when the two pencils come together, one is all bit up and then the other one is like short.
Yeah.
I would say
this is gonna be the saddest Pixar movie ever. Oh
God!
Write it and sell it to them.
Pixar should be in the beginning of the movie.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, see.
Toy Story 4 or 5.
That's good.
So you start like when vibes like that, you get moved by vibes like that. You can like, there's just too many to like. It's ones that right now. Like, wait, one was just created right there.
No. Don't talk about the one with the shoes, sneaks.
Oh no, yeah. See that one.
Is there an
no.
idea you don't want stolen?
That one is like.
Is it really
that
good?
one is like.
I think so.
Oh,
It's
I'm
out
really
of nowhere
excited.
too. Yeah, it's a really good idea. So, but yeah, like just sitting there with people,
Yeah.
you can like come up with
Yeah.
ideas.
Honestly, that's probably how half the amazing projects happen. Like, hey, let's just sit in a group of friends and then just,
Right.
bounce the ideas off each other and eventually work together and pay each other to make these awesome projects.
Right, because you
That's
sit
what
there
it's
and be
about.
like, who was sitting there thinking about Avatar? Like Avatar had to
Yeah.
start from like,
It did.
well, the people are going to be blue. Like some idea
wait,
came
get
across
this,
like
get
that.
this.
Right, yeah.
Aliens.
There's no spaceships.
What? We're
How
on
are
to
they?
something.
Oh yeah, we're $1 billion later. You're like,
That's how we come up with our skits.
because the skits,
Yeah.
Nothing.
yeah.
A lot of the skits I saw. Wait, you guys did different ones than Random Acts, right?
I'd say they're fairly different, yes.
Fairly. Okay, wait. So you weren't like working with them? No.
This before Random.
Oh, right. Okay,
Yeah.
beforehand.
We were younger, yeah.
That was the
When I
start
younger.
of it.
Oh, okay. So you started that, and then you moved on to that.
Did you even have a camera? What was that?
Yeah,
What was
back
using?
in- we had the cassette camera, man. We had old.
Damn.
The one
Would
with.
you say just draw everything really quickly?
Hey, could you go
What year
rewind
was
this for me?
this?
This is back when Nate was poor. That this particular Nate was poor. He was editing two VCRs stacked on top.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
you did that?
Record, yeah.
Oh my
And
god.
I'm like, all right, and stop. Okay, give me the next scene.
Yeah. For real?
Yeah, yo.
That is crazy.
Oh yeah, the edits in between.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's
Was
the
that-
kind of story that like that's what if you tell this story to anyone else who's like kind of worked their way up in Hollywood, they're probably gonna be like, I did the same thing in Louisiana,
Yeah.
like but in a different accent. But
Yeah.
Louisiana.
Oh yeah.
Louisiana.
Gotta put that in there.
Oh,
We'll
that's
have
awesome.
to press record every
Yeah.
day and then go over what we recorded at night. That was crazy.
That's so fun. That's exactly what you want. That's like the pure creative flow, Like no, you don't have to answer any like guidelines or any
Right.
like you have to do this. It's just hey, this is what we want to do. Go.
It's like from Philadelphia to here, you see it go from like when I came, it was like December, so it was like
Oh, yeah, winter.
like winter, dark, muggy, cloudy, freaking fall type trees, and then you go past that, then it's like rocks, and then you go past more rocks, and then you come out like poof. Like I left something going on that trip. Something was like left behind.
Yeah.
I came through some portal or something. Like, young, tell them youngins, huh? My best advice is just come out here and just go straight for it. Like, be that crash dummy. Like, no brakes and just see what happens after it. Probably a lot of bad stuff, but you'll learn.
But that's life. Bad stuff's
Right.
gonna happen to you no matter where
No
you are,
matter
what
what.
you're doing. So do it in LA, following your dream.
Right, yeah, because it happens here. Like, it's somebody right now waiting for you, like, right now, and they're just waiting to bump into you in a Starbucks.
I should leave my house more.
Should go to Starbucks more.
Rule number 1: leave your house sometimes.
Like, you're the guy. I dreamed that you were going to give me
Yeah.
the right. Oh
No.
no, sorry.
Oh, oops.
You're the guy that I'm.
Are you?
Yeah.
Are you the one who's gonna give me my break?
Right,
No?
the check. I just take the check now. I'll just take the check. Forget
Nice
the
to meet
movie.
you. Where's my money? So you worked on Static Shock.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about
Well, it was cool. Definitely got some punches, some kicks. Took some actual kicks,
Okay.
So no, that was like a childhood dream to like actually be throwing hands for fake.
Fan fiction.
Right, no, but it was cool, like, seeing like this process go through, like making something that was a cartoon once and, getting to be a part of it. And then I think my character was cool, like,
Yeah.
freaking his
Because-
powers and stuff.
Okay, so do you think because it was like a project that came from something bigger, from a mainstream thing, or I guess from a comic thing, did that make you feel more inspired and connected? Like people actually want to see something awesome because they have an expectation. Did that make you
Oh
feel?
yeah, yeah. It definitely like had a drive because it was something that was once like looked at by a lot of people like like me. Like I love Static like growing up and seeing that show. It was like a cool thing. I forgot what happened. What show came on after that? But it was like a back to back. So like my whole childhood Saturday mornings was like just hit hard hitters. So, you know.
Was it Batman Beyond?
I think definitely it was Batman. I was trying not to say Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because that was like my show. So anything after that, I was like, all right, yeah, that's cool. But
you
Turtles,
black out Turtles.
Right, Turtles was just like, they came through kicking butt the whole show. From the beginning, they come in flying, kicking, and in the end, they fly out kicking.
You're telling me your dream role is a turtle.
Hey, look here, Michelangelo.
Okay, specifically. I got it.
He likes pizza.
Take notes. Oh, shit. Do you like pizza?
Right.
That's so crazy. No one likes pizza. What? All right, so, do you want to tell us your Instagram handle and all that?
Well, I go by the name on there as @Cabino. That's my Gmail. I mean, my Instagram. My Gmail is... Let me go. No, because I see that so much in everything I type. I'm like, oh, let me send this picture to Nate, and it's like enters my Gmail.
But now people are gonna know how to like contact your personal email. What are you gonna do?
Get me on there, right? You can send me stuff on there. You know, no nudes of old people, but
scripts are okay.
Scripts are definitely scripts.
No nudes of old people, but yes, scripts.
And definitely a YouTube page to come. So yeah.
Cool. All right.
Yes.
Cheers again.
One more cheers.
Cheers. Chug, and then we walk away. The chug was more for me. I had like half a tiny sip.
Yeah, I want to actually make it out of the set.
You're like, oh,
I don't want to bring this whole thing down.
Bring it down.
Yes.
I'm done. So I want to start by saying that it looks like I'm going to be drinking more than him. But that is not the case because he pre-gamed. I just need that to be clear.
I'm oiled up.
I don't know if these are even on screen, are they? The beers? Yeah, I'm just saying. It just looks so... I know the audience is worried.